The Fed Chair Jerome Powell and the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen telling lawmakers today, you have just 20 days to either raise this or suspend the debt ceiling. And if you don't do that, America could face an economic crisis.
It would be disastrous for the American economy, for global financial markets, and for millions of families and workers whose financial security would be jeopardized by delayed payment.
Welcome back to the Big Long here. While the House passes the government funding bill and they send it to Biden, but they still have to raise the debt ceiling. As you just saw, Janet Yellen said, if we don't do that, this actually could be the first time the U.S. defaults on their debt. So that's something to keep an eye out for, as they do have until October 18th to do that. So S&P finally. All right, so S&P drops 5% from its all-time highs. Now, is this something that's scary? Yes, but when you zoom out from today, we have surpassed the level that we were pre-pandemic and have increased so much since then. So when you zoom out, this 5% drop off isn't necessarily scary, but time will tell, only because of where we're at and what is going on with everything in the world and the economy. So I do think there are some good buying opportunities at this point in time, but I also don't think everything is a dip buy. Another thing that happened today is mortgage rates have rose. So they actually rose over 3.01% this week, and last week they came in at 2.88%. So a rise of 13 basis points, something we haven't seen in a while. So keep an eye on that. As today, for economic data, we did have continuing jobless claims beat um, expectations, as well as initial jobless claims coming in higher than expected. So Chicago PMI, that also only by zero point 0.3 from expected, so not a big miss there. And the same with continuing jobless claims, not a big miss there, but things to be on the lookout for is the vaccine mandates now. Are nurses going to be quitting their jobs? So that is a big sector that we'll be looking at as the report comes out for September um, within the next couple of weeks. So GDP comes in higher than expected as well, but this is Q2 numbers. So let's see where we end up when it comes to the end of Q3. 6.7%. That's pretty high from a quarter over quarter. So that is a good sign, but we definitely did see some high inflation and still seeing it. So that will that will really be the catalyst for Q3 to see where that GDP number falls. So sector performance today. Now, we had a lot of red today, but today was led by communication services. As we wrap up the month of September, you had NVIDIA of about 0.97%, as well as, I'm sorry, NVIDIA is down, right? But communications was the least down today. That's what I meant to say. So Apologize about that, but a lot of red today, very little green, as you could just see from the picture. So getting into the futures now. Futures slightly up after ending September down for the month with that 5% pullback in the S&P. We do have oil up right now as the 10-year is inching somewhat higher. Now, it did drop, which is a good sign because we did pop over 1.5 the other day. So keep an eye out on that, as the dollar did see a slight pullback. But the VIX is jumping over $23 at the moment. So that is something to keep an eye out on, as these talks more and more of pretty much energy oil crisis globally with everything. This is something to keep an eye out on, as you see natural gas is up as well. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that and today's options. So most unusual options today was Zoom coming in with the call options of January expiration date 21/2022 of a strike price of $220. And we see that the options put the call ratio, now it's definitely stepping back from that high of 2.27 that we saw a few days ago, as equities did jump up today a little bit, and this is the 52-week high. So now we're starting to see the indexes pull back, but the equities to jump up. So now this is telling me that we might see some high volatility coming up. So I still don't think this is the end of it, as I do believe there will be better buying opportunities in the near term for certain stocks. So most active options today was led by Tesla. Now the option volume there is 1.158. So that is a big number, but the call volume is 1.49. So someone's betting heavily bearish on Tesla. And then you have AMC coming in, as it was actually up today about point plus 7%. We'll look at them, and then you have that as the bullish side, as well as Nvidia, Plantar, AMD, and Apple. So let's get into the charts. All right, so looking at the S&P index, closed at 4307.54, right on this trend line that I had made way back here when we fell through, and even the other day on the 20th of September. This price target has been here ever since we had this high and we dipped below the trade line. So the fact we came back down and retouched this, I still think we aren't set to see a bounce tomorrow, but at the same time I could be wrong, as the government did pass the bill to keep the government open until December 3rd, but come October 18th we need to raise the debt limit. So that is going to be the catalyst in the near term. So as we look at the SPY's action today, alright, so SPY, same as the S&P 500, same action. It follows the top stocks in there, and as we look at it we have touched this 428 or 429 level twice now. So is this going to be a double bottom, or are we going to see a further dip? And if we do see a further dip, I'm looking at 42,409 to hold, or 40, no, yep, around the low 424s. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. So right there, yeah. All right, so 423.91. No, that's not it. Yep, right there. So I'm looking at this to hold the next level of support. If we do break this level, I mean, futures are up, so let's see where the action is heading. So 4 hours. Let me just get rid of this. So 4 hours, we have been trending downwards for some time. Now we are looking like we're bouncing up at this point in time, but after hours, you got to take with a grain of salt. So one thing that I'm looking out for is the volume on these 4-hour candles. Now this tells me that there is strong support at this level, but today the volume actually increased and we stuck around the same level from when dip buyers came in. So this is what's telling me that this isn't over yet, and that is what I'm cautious about, because yeah, we could be up in the aftermarket hours and pre-market and have a false higher open and then just see a flat out sell again. So this is why I'm remaining cautious, but there are some buying opportunities. So you just gotta be mindful and look at the right ones. And I personally am not, I'm looking at this point in time, but I haven't bought anything. So once I do, I will definitely show that and why I am looking into it. So now as we go into the NASDAQ and we zoom out to the daily chart. So NASDAQ is what I think we are going to see another drop off tomorrow and actually closing below that 100-day moving average. That is what I'm looking for, as we do have this uptrend downwards resistance. So if this trend continues, we could see a pullback. Let me just draw this line now. We could see a pullback to this trend line, which is probably right here. So looking at this area to hold as support if we do see a decline heading towards the trend line. So this is what I'm looking at to act as support if we close below the 100-day moving average. And now as we look at the triple Qs, right? So triple Qs, we actually closed underneath one of my price targets, but above the 100-day moving average. So my prediction for tomorrow is we are going to close below the 100-day moving average, but above $350. Now we are up right now in after hours, but like I said, it could be a false open. And this is what I'm looking for, is the momentum and the volume on these candles. As you can see, the open has been nothing but red other than the 24th. So that was a false dip buy, and this is why I'm being skeptical, because the red volume candles on here have been the biggest volume candles we have seen in a while, and as we dip lower and lower, I'm looking for that strong support area to where I know, which it could be here. Now it could be. So you see what happened last time, as when we hit this level, we went and hit all-time highs. But what this is showing me is an inverse cup and handle. So the inverse cup and handle here, I'm looking for that support to hold as we bounce off of it. But as of right now, looking for the strong support area, as this does seem to be that strong support area, but it could actually be this 358 zone or 350, the low 358 zone. So definitely paying attention to this area as tomorrow plays out for the first day of October. Will we see a rebound? Not too sure. I think it'll be a green open, but we'll see a sell-off. I'm looking to recapture the 361 line, so that'll tell me that it's a moderate, strong dip buy. But if we close above it, maybe recapturing what is this? The 28th open. That will tell me it's a real strong dip buy. So looking for something to tell me it's a strong buy, as well as not the whole market selling off. So let's get into some stocks. So the first one, AMC. Look at this 4-hour chart. Now we had a bounce off of $33. Yeah, a bounce off of $33.74, right around my resistance area. So this is what I mean is you won't always get this spot on. Now you could, that does happen, but this is why I like utilizing a zone. So we broke out of that zone and actually touched $41.63. So it's up right now, hitting $39. So looking at it to recapture pretty much the 50-day moving average tomorrow. Looking at this for a play, and as we scroll down into the 30 minutes, just massive buy around 2:30 today. Massive volume we saw. So this is telling me something is up with this strong consolidation of what, an hour, about 2 hours of consolidation around above yesterday's open and the previous day's open. So that is telling me a strong movement upwards. It's coming, as we did recapture the 200-day moving average on the 30-minute. So assuming this momentum carries up, looking for a big move to retest $46. That's what I'm looking at. Now, don't get me wrong, the first target for me is that $40 zone. If we hold above $40, as you can see, we hit $41, but we didn't hold it. So looking at above 40 to hold before I do anything. Then now let's get into some fun ones. So Pal. Now Pal came out, and this is extremely low float stock. It went from $3 to $6 all the way to $15 in a matter of days, and it's actually hanging around. So this is something to keep an eye out on, as I did make a play on it when it hit $15. So that was something that was really crazy. Now as we dip into the 4-hour zone, you could see that the momentum was pushing upwards, as you did have somewhat of a bull flag forming in the after hours volume, and then it took off. And so it's looking like the same setup might happen going into tomorrow. So with that being said, definitely looking at this to hold. If this has the same setup tomorrow and it retouches this trade line, I'm looking at that momentum to stay and go upwards. So that is something that I'm looking at. Really, if anything, I'm looking at a pullback probably to $9.62. That would be pretty much the pullback area that I'm looking for to bounce up. And then once we do bounce back, looking at it to regain that above $10. So if it dips and then goes above $10, definitely trying to make a play on this, and that will probably be early in the morning, just like today happened. But not going to get greedy with it. If it's not there, it's not there. So you gotta be patient with these plays. So another one is CEI. CEI has been absolutely crazy. Now it is so overbought and overvalued, but this is another kind of short squeeze, low float stock that we're playing with. So right now I got in here around the twos and I've been playing with it, and now I'm looking for a pullback to see where the strong support, because every day we have been touching the previous day's close, and the fact that we're holding the previous day's close or high has been good news for the stock as it just pushes higher. And you could see a month ago it was at 33 cents. So going from 33 cents all the way to $3.82, that's a huge move in a matter of weeks. And as we look at the 4-hour chart, we do have a bull flag forming, creating those lower highs and higher lows, as now we do seem like we did find the level of support as we zoom into the 30-minute time frame. So 30-minute time frame, now we are right around crossover of where the 50-day is. So seems like momentum did cool off a little bit, but every time that we have come back to touch the 50-day, we have bounced back and made a major move. So to me, the cool off for CEI was needed, as I did get out around here before I hit the high, and then I rebought back in as soon as I saw this move upwards and consolidation. So sometimes I do make a play, for instance, when a stock dips. When I first got in, I look for it to hold support, as it held this area of support as the stock did go all the way down but immediately came back up within this 30 minutes. So that is telling me that the buyers wanted to stay around the 330 level, and it is. So for now, the 330 level is looking like the strong area of support. And now in the after hours, kind of flat, we're down, but only by 11 cents, nothing crazy. Looking at this to make a serious move, to be honest, tomorrow possibly. No, it might not happen because of how crazy it's overextended, but with this market you just don't know, and things have really been defying the fundamentals. So this is a straight trade, as I am looking at Hyzon to get in, and they did have a report of them being called a liar and falsifying their reports. So keeping this in my back pocket, not something I want to get into. Depending on what happens tomorrow, though, I might buy some, just because this is the low, and it seems like we will be rebounding off of that. So definitely going to keep my eyes on this as we look at the 4-hour. So 4-hour, you can see that was a strong buy today. So coming off that low of $6, really signifying this strength, even though the volume wasn't necessarily that high. This is showing me that we might be bottom here. So really looking for this stock to regain that $9. And once we regain that $9, that's when I'll be looking to buy in. So staying patient on that. As another one is ATER. So ATER, right? Let me zoom out. ATER. So this stock could really push the limits if buyers jump in on here. So when the volume was high, this stock closed at $11.80 on September 10th, and then it opened at $14 and hit a high of 19 in a day. So to me, this is telling me if this catches wind, this could be a serious massive move like we've been seeing with all these other short squeeze, gamma squeezes. So I'm keeping an eye out on this stock as it did rebound 8% today. And another one is BBIG. So BBIG as well rebounds off this support area. And the last time we rebounded off this support area ended up gapping up higher, but ultimately not strong enough, meaning not holding and becoming the strong bullish momentum that we needed. As you can see, the volume here wasn't necessarily that high, but this is telling me that short sellers closed out their positions and probably added to their positions to draw this stock gapping up and then ultimately coming back down, as this is the area of resistance at this point in time. So if we recapture that $7.70, now we could see a massive move upwards, as today it was up 6%. So as we just bottomed here, looking at tomorrow to recapture the trade line and continue rising. But the MACD is still signaling bearish momentum, so looking at this to cross over soon enough. And all I'm looking at right now are trades day by day, and as I get new ones, definitely bringing them up. Palt was a new one, made a trade on that, but those are skeptical trades. If you don't have the time to look at your phone or look at a computer while that's happening, I suggest not doing it. Now, this isn't advice. This is just for financial education so that you understand that this isn't easy. Now, hope you learned something. Thanks for tuning in, and go long.